Welcome to Epic English Stories, where every word carries the power to transform your life. Today, we're diving into a truth that cuts deep but sets you free. No one cares until you win. Picture this. You're grinding in the shadows, pouring your heart into something meaningful, yet the world remains silent. Your friends scroll past your struggles, your family questions your choices, and strangers judge your journey. But here's the paradox that changes everything. Their indifference isn't your weakness. It's your greatest strength waiting to be unleashed. In the next 50 minutes, we'll uncover 7 life-altering truths that will revolutionize how you see rejection, silence, and struggle. These aren't just motivational concepts. They're battle-tested principles that separate champions from dreamers, legends from the forgotten. You'll discover why being ignored is actually your invitation to greatness, how pain becomes your secret weapon, and why walking alone makes you unstoppable. Most importantly, you'll learn to let your victories speak louder than any criticism ever could. So here's my question for you. Are you ready to transform every no into unstoppable fuel for your success? Drop a comment below and tell me about a time when someone's doubt only made you stronger. Let's build this community of warriors together. Every giant oak tree was once a seed that held its ground. Every legend you admire started as someone people couldn't see succeeding. The harsh reality? The world doesn't celebrate your potential. It celebrates your proof. Think about the last time you shared a dream that made your soul come alive. Maybe you wanted to start that business, write that book, or completely reinvent your life. What happened? Did they lean in with excitement? Or did you see that familiar look, the one that says, "Oh, another dreamer who doesn't understand reality"? Their reaction wasn't about you. It was about them. When people mock your beginning, they're revealing their own limitations, their own fears, their own surrender to mediocrity. They've convinced themselves that extraordinary things only happen to extraordinary people. People who aren't like them. People who aren't like you. But here's where the magic happens. Every extraordinary person was once exactly where you are now. Oprah Winfrey wasn't born with a media empire. She was fired from her first television job, told she was unfit for TV, dismissed by an industry that couldn't see her brilliance. The same voices that once silenced her now hang on her every word. What changed? Not them, her. She transformed their rejection into rocket fuel for her mission. J.K. Rowling wasn't born a best-selling author. She was a struggling single mother, writing in cafes while her baby slept, collecting rejection letters like painful souvenirs. 12 publishers couldn't see the magic in Harry Potter. Today, those same publishers would pay millions for a single page of her work. Your story might be different, but the principle remains the same. The people laughing at your small start today will be the ones claiming they always knew you had it in you tomorrow. But you'll know the truth. You didn't succeed because they believed in you. You succeeded because you believed in yourself when no one else did. Here's the shift that changes everything. Stop seeking their approval and start building your proof. When they laugh, let it remind you that you're attempting something bold, something uncommon. Ordinary dreams don't get laughed at. They get ignored. But extraordinary dreams? They get mocked, questioned, and dismissed. That's not a bug in the system. That's a feature. Use their laughter as your compass. It's pointing you towards something worth pursuing. Every time someone says you can't, translate it to watch me. Every time they question your vision, let it sharpen your focus. Every time they doubt your ability, let it fuel your determination. But here's the most crucial part. Learn to celebrate yourself when no one else will. Don't wait for applause that may never come. Don't hold your breath for validation that isn't guaranteed. Instead, become your own biggest supporter. Celebrate the small wins, the quiet progress, the nights you didn't quit even when no one noticed. Because one day, and this day will come, you'll look back at those moments of isolation and feel grateful. Grateful that they didn't cheer too early, because it forced you to develop unshakable self-belief. Grateful that they didn't carry you, because it taught you to carry yourself. Grateful that they didn't believe in you, because it made your self-belief bulletproof. The people who mock your beginning don't understand that they're witnessing the birth of something extraordinary. They see the mess, the struggle, the uncertainty. But you see the vision. You see the destination. You see what's possible. So if you're being laughed at today, smile. Not because it doesn't hurt, it does. Smile because you know something they don't. Every great story starts with someone being underestimated. Every victory begins with someone being overlooked. Every legend emerges from someone who refused to be defined by other people's limitations. Your beginning isn't your ending. It's just your starting point. And champions are built not in the applause, but in the silence that comes before it. Human nature has a predictable pattern. It distances itself from failure and rushes toward success. This isn't personal, it's universal. But understanding this pattern can either break your heart or break you free. Think about the last time you faced a significant setback. Maybe you lost a job, failed an important exam, or watched a relationship crumble. As the dust settled, you probably noticed something painful. The phone stopped ringing, the invitations dried up, and people who once promised to always be there suddenly had convenient excuses. It stings. It feels like betrayal. But is it really? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people aren't equipped to handle your failure because they're terrified of their own. When you fail, you become a mirror reflecting their deepest fears. You represent the possibility that dreams don't always come true, that hard work doesn't always pay off, that good people sometimes don't get good outcomes. That's a reality they're not ready to face, so they protect themselves by protecting their distance from you. But watch what happens when you win. Suddenly, you're magnetic. The same people who avoided your calls during your struggle are now sliding into your DMs during your success. They want to be associated with your victory, to bask in your glow, to claim they always knew you had it in you. Stephen King's story illustrates this perfectly. His first novel, Carrie, was rejected 30 times. 30 times, publishers told him his work wasn't good enough. He was so discouraged that he literally threw the manuscript in the trash. His wife fished it out and convinced him to try again. When it finally got published, it sold over 1 million copies in its first year. The same industry that rejected him 30 times now studies his work, quotes his wisdom, and pays millions for his stories. What changed? Not his talent. That was always there. What changed was his proof. But here's the key insight. You can't waste energy being angry at the people who left during your failure. You need that energy to build your comeback. The best revenge isn't rage, it's results. The most powerful response isn't words, it's winning. Use the silence they gave you as space to grow. Use the empty room as your training ground. Use the pain of abandonment as fuel for your transformation. Because here's what happens when you truly rebuild. You don't just recover from failure. You evolve beyond it. The person who emerges from your struggle isn't the same person who entered it. You're stronger, wiser, more resilient. You've learned to stand without support, to believe without validation, to move without applause. That's not just recovery, that's elevation. When the crowd comes running back during your victory, you'll notice something profound. You don't need them anymore. Not because you're bitter, but because you're complete. You've learned to be your own source of encouragement, your own source of strength, your own source of belief. This is the paradox of abandonment. The people who leave you during your lowest moments give you the greatest gift, the opportunity to discover your own power. Think of it this way. Failure isn't just a test of your abilities, it's a test of your relationships. It shows you who's truly with you and who's only around when the lights are bright and the cameras are rolling. That's valuable information. That's clarity you couldn't get any other way. So when they disappear during your darkest hour, don't chase them. Don't beg for their support. Don't try to convince them to stay. Instead, get so focused on your mission that you become unstoppable. Let them walk away, because when you rise, and you will rise, they'll have no choice but to notice what they once ignored. And you'll smile, not out of pride, but out of peace. Peace from knowing that even when everyone else gave up on you, you didn't give up on yourself. That's the difference between temporary setbacks and permanent comebacks. Champions don't just survive abandonment. They transform it into independence. Everyone wants the strength, but nobody wants the struggle. Everyone desires the power, but nobody wants the pain that forges it. Yet here's the truth that separates winners from wishers. Your greatest pain becomes your greatest power, but only if you choose to transform it. Pain isn't your enemy. Pain is your teacher. It's life's way of asking you a crucial question. Are you going to let this break you? Or are you going to let this build you? Your answer determines everything. Think about your deepest hurt. Maybe it was when someone you trusted walked away. Maybe it was when you gave everything to something and it failed spectacularly. Maybe it was when you poured your heart out and nobody listened. In that moment, you had two choices: become bitter or become better. The people who become legends choose better. They choose to mine their pain for power. Thomas Edison understood this principle deeply. Before he invented the light bulb, he failed over 1,000 times. Journalists mocked him. Investors abandoned him. Critics called him a fool. But Edison had a different perspective. When asked about his failures, he said, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps." That's the mindset shift that changes everything. Reframing your pain as progress. Your rejection isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a redirection toward your purpose. Every no you've received has been preparing you for the yes that matters most. Every door that closed has been teaching you to build your own entrance. Every person who walked away has been making room for the right people to walk in. But here's what makes this process so powerful. Pain doesn't just teach you resilience. It teaches you empathy. The person who has never been rejected doesn't understand the value of acceptance. The person who has never been ignored doesn't appreciate being heard. The person who has never been counted out doesn't know how to lift others up. Your pain isn't just preparing you for your success. It's preparing you to help others succeed. When you finally rise, you won't just be successful. You'll be significant. You'll remember what it felt like to be dismissed, so you'll never dismiss others. You'll remember what it felt like to be alone, so you'll never leave others alone. You'll remember what it felt like to be doubted, so you'll become someone who believes in people. This is how pain becomes purpose. It doesn't just change your circumstances, it changes your character. The gym doesn't build muscle with comfort. It builds muscle with resistance. Life works the same way. Every struggle you've faced has been adding strength you didn't know you needed. Every rejection has been building resilience you'll use later. Every lonely night has been developing the independence that will make you unstoppable. But you have to choose to see it this way. You have to choose to extract the lesson from the loss, the wisdom from the wound, the power from the pain. Because pain without purpose is just suffering. But pain with purpose becomes strength. Here's the question that will change your life. What are you doing with your pain? Are you sitting in it, letting it define you, allowing it to limit you? Or are you standing on it, using it to elevate you, transforming it into the foundation of your comeback? The most successful people you know aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who had it hard and chose to let it make them harder to break. They're the ones who took their deepest wounds and turned them into their greatest weapons. Your scars aren't signs of weakness. They're proof of strength. They're evidence that you've been through something and survived. They're testimony that you can handle more than you think, endure more than you imagined, and overcome more than you believe possible. So the next time pain knocks on your door, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What can this teach me?" Because champions aren't made in comfort zones. They're forged in fire. There comes a moment in every dreamer's journey when words become worthless. You've explained yourself 1,000 times, defended your vision until you're exhausted, and justified your dreams to people who are never going to understand them anyway. That's when you realize the most profound truth. Arguments are for the weak. Results are for the strong. Stop trying to convince people with your words. Start convincing them with your work. The world is full of talkers, but starving for doers. Everyone has an opinion about your journey, but few have the courage to take their own. They'll tell you why it won't work, why you're not ready, why you should wait. But here's what they don't realize. Their doubt isn't your problem. It's your opportunity. Every time someone tells you you can't, you have a choice. You can waste your energy arguing with them, or you can channel that energy into proving them wrong. One keeps you stuck in their conversation. The other moves you toward your destination. Sylvester Stallone understood this principle perfectly. Before Rocky made him a global icon, he was rejected over 1,500 times while trying to sell his script. 1,500 times, people told him his story wasn't good enough, his vision wasn't marketable, his dream wasn't realistic. He could have spent those rejections arguing with every person who said no. He could have tried to convince them, debate them, make them see his vision. Instead, he did something more powerful. He let his persistence speak louder than their pessimism. When a studio finally agreed to buy his script but didn't want him to star in it, he refused. Not because he was stubborn, but because he believed in the complete vision. He waited until someone believed in both the story and him. When Rocky finally came out, it didn't just win awards, it won hearts. It changed everything. That's the power of letting your victories speak. It doesn't just prove you right, it makes their words irrelevant. You don't need their permission to succeed. You don't need their approval to achieve. You don't need their understanding to win. You just need your commitment to keep going when they stop believing. Here's what happens when you stop defending and start delivering. You enter a different league. While others are still debating whether your dream is possible, you're making it inevitable. While they're still discussing whether you're capable, you're becoming undeniable. While they're still questioning your vision, you're building your proof. The most beautiful part of this transformation isn't just that you prove them wrong. It's that you prove yourself right. You discover that you didn't need their validation to validate yourself. You realize that you didn't need their support to support yourself. You understand that you didn't need their belief to believe in yourself. This is the ultimate freedom, becoming so confident in your own vision that other people's opinions become background noise. When your victory finally arrives, and it will arrive, something magical happens. The same people who once questioned your journey will be forced to respect your destination. They may not apologize. They may not admit they were wrong. They may not even acknowledge the pain they caused. But they will respect the results. And here's the most powerful part. You won't need their respect anymore, because you'll have earned your own. The process of winning without their support changes you. It teaches you that your worth isn't determined by their words. It shows you that your value isn't validated by their opinions. It proves that your potential isn't limited by their perspective. So stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Stop defending your dreams to people who gave up on their own. Stop trying to convince people who would rather see you conform than succeed. Instead, work in silence. Build in the background. Grow in the shadows. Let your progress speak for itself. Let your persistence tell your story. Let your victory be the only voice they hear from you. Because when you finally win, all their words will go silent. And you'll finally hear the only voice that ever mattered. Your own, saying, "I did it." As we reach the end of this journey together, let's extract the golden thread that runs through every story, every struggle, every ultimate victory. Your worth was never determined by their recognition. Your potential was never limited by their perception. Your destiny was never dependent on their validation. The most profound lesson isn't that people will eventually care when you win. It's that you'll discover you don't need them to care. The process of succeeding without their support transforms you into someone who doesn't require their approval to feel successful. This isn't about becoming cold or bitter toward others. It's about becoming complete within yourself. It's about developing the kind of unshakable confidence that comes not from external validation, but from internal transformation. Every rejection you've faced was preparing you for this moment of realization. Every person who walked away was making space for you to walk into your own power. Every doubt you've overcome was building the foundation of your self-belief. The real victory isn't proving them wrong. It's proving yourself right. It's knowing that you are always enough, always capable, always worthy of the dreams you carry. Their silence didn't diminish your value. Their absence didn't reduce your potential. Their doubt didn't limit your destiny. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to be unstoppable despite everyone. This is your reminder that legends aren't born from approval. They're forged in adversity. Champions aren't created in comfort. They're crafted in challenge. And your greatest victory isn't when they finally believe in you. It's when you no longer need them to. If this message ignited something within you, if these words found their way to your heart when you needed them most, then we've created something powerful together today. This is Epic English Stories, where every word carries the weight of transformation and every story has the power to change lives. Your journey matters. Your struggle has meaning. Your victory is inevitable. Hit that like button if you're ready to let your success make the noise. Drop a comment and share one thing you're going to stop explaining and start demonstrating. Subscribe and ring that bell because your next breakthrough might be just one story away. Remember, no one cares until you win. So go out there and win anyway. The world is waiting to witness your greatness. Epic English Stories will be here, cheering you on every step of the way. Your victory speech starts now. Let's write it together.